The grand ballroom shimmered beneath golden chandeliers, their light cascading over hundreds of elegantly dressed guests. Every detail of the wedding reflected perfection, from the white orchids adorning the archway to the soft melody of the string quartet. Among the crowd stood Adrian Cole, a stoic millionaire known for his sharp mind, unshakable focus, and a heart seemingly immune to love. He had attended countless luxury events, yet none had ever stirred more than polite disinterest in him. That day, however, fate decided to surprise him. As the ceremony began, everyone turned toward the aisle, but just before the bride made her entrance, the heavy wooden doors at the back of the hall creaked open with a loud echo. Heads swiveled. A hush fell. In rushed a young woman, her cheeks flushed, her hair slightly undone from the wind. She clutched a small bouquet, whispering apologies as she hurried to her place among the bridesmaids. Her dress, though simple compared to the others, flowed gracefully with every step, and her eyes, bright, alive, and filled with sincerity, caught Adrian's attention instantly. He couldn't look away. There was something different about her. She wasn't the type who belonged to the glamorous circles he usually moved in. She seemed real, nervous, a little clumsy, but radiant in her honesty. While others might have seen her lateness as a flaw, Adrian saw a spark of humanity in it, something pure and unscripted in a world obsessed with image. As she finally reached her spot, she looked up, scanning the room, and for a fleeting moment, their eyes met. Time seemed to pause. The chatter, the music, the ceremony, all faded into the background. Adrian felt an unfamiliar pull in his chest, something warm, almost disorienting. It was as if all the walls he had built over the years, the walls of success, pride, and emotional distance, had silently crumbled at the sight of one woman who didn't even realize the effect she had. When she smiled nervously, trying to hide her embarrassment, Adrian found himself smiling too, a rare, genuine smile that startled even him. In that instant, he knew this wasn't a fleeting attraction or a passing curiosity. It was the beginning of something extraordinary, a feeling he couldn't explain, but one he knew he couldn't ignore. And so, amid the perfection of his best friend's wedding, Adrian Cole fell in love, not with beauty, but with imperfection made beautiful by sincerity. After the wedding, Adrian couldn't get her out of his mind. The image of the late bridesmaid, her flushed cheeks, her awkward grace, her gentle laugh, replayed endlessly in his thoughts. He had spent years surrounded by people who chased power, wealth, and fame. Yet, for the first time, he found himself captivated by someone who didn't seem to care about any of those things. He didn't even know her name, only that she wasn't like anyone he had ever met. A few days later, fate intervened again. Adrian discovered that she wasn't a guest from the high-profile circle but rather an assistant to the wedding planner, filling in as a bridesmaid at the last moment when someone else couldn't make it. Her name was Lena Park, a hardworking woman juggling 2 jobs to help her family. When Adrian learned this, his curiosity deepened into admiration. The millionaire who had built empires suddenly wanted to know everything about a woman who lived simply but smiled like she owned the world. Their first real conversation happened unexpectedly. Adrian attended a follow-up meeting at the event venue, and Lena was there helping with cleanup. She was surprised to see him, a man whose suit probably cost more than her monthly salary, offering to carry a few leftover boxes. "You don't have to do that," she said, half laughing, half nervous. He replied with a smirk, "Maybe I want to." It was awkward, yet strangely natural. As they talked, their differences became clear. Adrian's world revolved around luxury, schedules, and corporate deals. Lena's revolved around effort, family, and dreams she could barely afford to chase. She teased him for being too serious, he admired her for being genuine. Their conversations, short as they were, made him feel alive in a way money never had. But while Adrian was falling fast, Lena was cautious. She had seen wealthy men before, arrogant, condescending, untouchable. She couldn't believe a man like him would truly care about someone like her. To her, he was a passing moment, a story that couldn't possibly have a happy ending. Still, despite her doubts, every time they met, whether by coincidence or design, something invisible drew them closer. It was a clash of two worlds, one polished and powerful, the other humble and heartfelt. Yet, within that contrast, a quiet spark began to grow, fragile, uncertain, but undeniably real. What began as a few awkward encounters slowly turned into something deeper. Every time Adrian and Lena crossed paths, the air seemed to shift, charged with something neither could name nor deny. After the wedding, Adrian found excuses to visit the event company, offering business proposals just to see her again. Lena, though suspicious of his intentions, couldn't help but smile whenever he appeared with that faint, boyish grin that didn't quite match his billionaire aura. Their interactions were simple at first, shared coffee breaks, short conversations while she arranged flowers or packed up decorations. Adrian listened more than he spoke, fascinated by her stories. Lena talked about her late nights helping her mother, her dreams of opening a small bakery, her fear of failure. No one in his high society life ever spoke with such raw honesty. Around her, Adrian wasn't the CEO everyone admired or feared, he was just a man learning what warmth truly felt like. One evening, after a long charity event, rain poured unexpectedly. Lena stood outside, trying to protect a box of decorations under her jacket. Adrian appeared beside her, holding an umbrella. "You'll catch a cold," he said softly. She looked up, surprised, then laughed. "I thought millionaires didn't walk in the rain." He chuckled, holding the umbrella over her instead. "Maybe this one does, for the right reason." It was a small moment, yet it changed everything. Beneath that umbrella, time seemed to slow. Raindrops tapped softly around them, the city lights glimmering in the puddles. Neither spoke for a while, they didn't need to. For the first time, Lena felt the sincerity in his eyes, a quiet tenderness that went beyond charm. Adrian, on the other hand, realized he wasn't just infatuated, he was falling, deeply, helplessly, for a woman who made him feel human again. Their connection deepened over the following weeks. She began teasing him about his expensive tastes, while he encouraged her to believe in her dreams. Yet both carried unspoken fears, she worried their worlds were too different, and he feared his wealth would always stand between them. Still, they kept finding reasons to see each other, drawn together by something more powerful than logic. What started as curiosity had now become a genuine bond, one that neither time nor circumstance could easily break. Amid laughter, rain, and quiet conversations, love began to bloom, soft, unexpected, and impossibly real. As their bond deepened, the world around them began to notice, and not everyone was kind. The whispers started quietly at first. Some of Adrian's business partners laughed behind his back, saying he was distracted by a woman far beneath his social class. The tabloids soon followed, painting Lena as a gold digger who had charmed her way into a millionaire's heart. For someone like Adrian, whose life had always been measured in power and reputation, these rumors carried weight. Lena, on the other hand, found herself overwhelmed. The quiet, hard-working life she once knew turned into something unfamiliar and uncomfortable. Strangers took photos of her at work, colleagues treated her differently, and clients whispered when she entered a room. Though Adrian tried to protect her, his presence sometimes made things worse, his expensive car, his tailored suits, his world of luxury that didn't belong to hers. One evening, after yet another tabloid headline questioning her intentions, Lena confronted him. "You don't understand," she said, her voice trembling. "People think I'm using you. My boss doesn't trust me anymore. My friends don't even look at me the same." Adrian reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "I never asked for this, Adrian. I just wanted to live my life quietly." He tried to explain, tried to assure her that none of it mattered. But for Lena, it did. She had worked her entire life to build her dignity, and now it was being torn apart by lies. To make things worse, Adrian's own family, especially his father, openly disapproved. "She'll ruin your name," his father warned coldly. You have responsibilities, Adrian. Don't throw your future away for a passing infatuation. Torn between the woman he loved and the world he had built, Adrian made the one mistake he would come to regret. When Lena, in frustration and pain, told him, maybe we should stop seeing each other, he hesitated, just long enough for her to walk away. Days turned into weeks. Lena buried herself in work, pretending not to care, while Adrian drowned in regret. He attended meetings and charity galas, yet everything felt hollow. He had wealth, influence, and prestige, but the warmth that once filled his days had vanished. Both realized, in their separate silences, that love wasn't the challenge was standing firm against a world that didn't believe in it. After weeks of separation, Adrian knew he could no longer let fear, rumors, or societal expectations dictate his heart. The emptiness of his luxurious world had made one thing clear: money could buy comfort, power, and admiration, but it could not buy the warmth, laughter, and authenticity that Lena brought into his life. He had lost himself in the world of wealth, but in her presence, he found the man he wanted to be: genuine, vulnerable, and unafraid of love. Determined, Adrian made a bold decision. He showed up at Lena's workplace unannounced, carrying not gifts or luxury items, but a simple bouquet of wildflowers, the kind she had once pointed out as beautiful but too ordinary for anyone else to notice. She looked up, startled and guarded, expecting another spectacle, another act of grandeur. But when he spoke, there was no showmanship, only sincerity. "I don't care what the world says," he said softly. "I care about you. I want us to be together, not because it's convenient or expected, but because I can't imagine my life without you." Lena studied his eyes and saw the truth she had been longing for: not wealth, not charm, but commitment and humility. In that moment, she realized that love wasn't about appearances, status, or perfection. It was about choosing someone every day, despite obstacles, despite differences, and despite the world's judgment. Adrian didn't stop there. He made a conscious effort to bridge their worlds. He listened to her dreams, encouraged her ambitions, and even helped her plan for a small bakery, a symbol of her independence and passion, not a gift to tie her to him. He demonstrated that love was not about ownership but support, not about wealth but presence, and not about appearances but heart. Slowly, Lena's doubts melted. She began to see the layers beneath his polished exterior: the vulnerability, the warmth, and the unwavering devotion. Their love, once fragile and tentative, grew strong, capable of withstanding gossip, judgment, and the pressures of two very different lives. The couple became a modern fairy tale, proof that true love thrives when two hearts choose each other over societal expectations. In the end, Adrian and Lena learned that sometimes, the most extraordinary love stories begin with a simple moment: a late arrival at a wedding, a shared smile, and the courage to follow the heart. Together, they discovered that love beyond appearances is not only possible, it is the most beautiful, transformative experience of all.